Yeah, sure you would.
Is for your vlog today?
Maybe.
Look at Mama's camera.
Who are we visiting today?
You can just look at him.
Say hi, Grandpa Harry. You guys having some ice cream with Grandpa Harry?
I can be funny, huh?
I can be funny.
You want a piece, Grandpa?
Hey guys, so today, or actually for this month, for October 2016's vlog, I wanted to do a special vlog talking about all of the scariest experiences I've had in my entire life. And I thought this would be a really fun vlog to do, especially because now that I'm an adult and I'm aware of my DID, dissociative identity disorder, a lot of the creepy, paranormal, and weird things that happened to me when I was younger are actually explained. However, not all of them are, and some of them are still really creepy. So anyways, kind of the first one I wanted to talk about was actually happened about a year ago, almost on Halloween of last year. And I think it was actually like October 30th. And I had one of my girlfriends over and we were watching Practical Magic, funny enough. And anyways, in the middle of this movie, we were up really late and it was 2 o'clock on the dot according to my clock in the computer. And all of a sudden, at 2 o'clock on the dot, there was this insanely loud banging on the front door. And we were renting a trailer at the time. And so obviously in a trailer it's really loud. And it was just like this banging on the door at 2 o'clock on the dot in the morning. And we were in the middle of nowhere, like we were not in a city. We were in a trailer park in the country in Maine, okay? It was very bizarre. And there was like no lights in my driveway from cars or anything. And so the first thing I did obviously was I grabbed my AK-47. And the girl that was staying over with me, I grabbed my AK-47, we went over to the door, and we like sort of peeked through the blinds where we could see the outline of a figure. And then it started rattling the doorknob trying to get in, but my door was locked. And immediately I got this incredibly like bad vibe, bad feeling, and I was like, I'm not opening the door. And so I actually went and tried to get my husband up, and that took about 5 minutes, and by the time my husband was awake, the pounding was gone and the whatever it was absolutely gone. And it was like the weirdest thing that probably has happened in a while. But yeah, that happened last year. And then a couple weeks before that happened, this is one that can actually be a little bit explained, possibly, I think. But a couple weeks before that happened, I've talked about in my videos that I have a hard time sleeping at night. Well, one night I was up really late. It was probably around 2 or 3 in the morning. And I was just at that point where I had started to doze off. And I heard my bedroom door open. And at the time I was fostering my niece Charlie. And I had 2 kids of my own. So with 3 kids, I assumed it was one of the kids. Like maybe had to use the bathroom or something. Even though we had 2 bathrooms. Anyways, I like assumed that it was one of my daughters. And I just thought that maybe it would be Allie and she would come snuggle in bed with me. And when I poked my head up to like look, the door closed and I could see like a short little figure or shadow, but I couldn't see like who or what it was. It was just like a dark shadow, and it closed my door. And immediately I got out of bed because I assumed it might be one of my kids, and every single kid in my house was sound asleep, snoring, like in deep sleep. And so for like, that really troubled me for quite a while. I was really freaked out about that one. And let's see. Oh yes, how it's a little bit explainable with dissociative identity disorder. Okay. If you study occultism and dissociative identity disorder, a couple things will come up that are really interesting, especially a subject called tulpomancy. Tulpomancy is basically manifesting yourself an invisible friend, which is actually a lot like dissociative identity disorder. And people with dissociative identity disorder constantly feel like they're being watched because their other selves are watching them. And if you, how should I put this? Like, I think that the thing that happened a few weeks before the incident with the banging on the door, I think those are directly related. And that it's possible that because this was before my breakdown in April, that this was sort of like building up to my system having revealed itself to me, which is what all of this led up to. Basically, at some point when you become an adult, usually it doesn't break down until you're after your 50s. But for me, it has been breaking down a lot sooner. And basically what happens is that the system ends up revealing itself to the conscious mind. That's what it means. And so all of these little things, especially because I study esotericism and occultism and understand all of this, I really do think it's possible that I basically created a tulpa of myself to show myself to myself. And so, I don't know, that's a possibility. Men in Black are also a possibility, which leads me to my third creepiest fucking experience of my entire life. Okay, this one's actually scarier than probably anything else, just because I literally was kind of insane when this happened. And so, talking about my breakdown in April, which Triss has talked about at length in her videos, basically, I didn't sleep for 6 days, and I was kind of going really crazy, details in those videos, but basically, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, I was going through a really, really, really bad time, and I don't know if any of you have ever, not slept and not eaten for 6 days, and had previous abandonment issues, but regardless, one night I began walking to the store to get a pack of cigarettes, because I was convinced if I could just smoke a cigarette that I would probably relax, and I didn't have any. So I started walking to the store to get cigarettes, and I was really upset, and I was crying, and I was screaming at the world, and I actually live pretty far away from, the nearest town. It's, it's about a 15-minute drive, and I wasn't sure how long that would take me to walk, but I was sure that I could, even if it took me a while, it would be better than sitting here and freaking out. Well, that turned out to really not be the case. And I would say about an hour and a half into my walk, I wasn't even halfway there. I started screaming at the watchers, because I know the watchers are always watching. And I started screaming that I knew they were watching me, and that I knew that, I didn't understand why they were putting me through this. I didn't know why they had done this to me. I didn't know why they had set all this up. I was screaming at them, basically contact. And so I looked over, and it was a full moon that night. It was really bright. And I looked over the side of the road, which I was on a main route that goes to town, but isn't really traveled that much at night because there's not a lot of population out here. And so I was pretty much alone on the road is what I was saying, trying to say. I looked over kind of down the ditch about 5 feet from me, and no shit, I fucking saw a man in black, and it just stared at me as I was screaming at them. That's what I meant by talking to the watchers. I didn't mean myself that watched myself. I meant the actual watchers. And I looked over, and there it was. And I was so... The funny thing was that my girlfriend earlier that day had come over and tried to see me, and she had actually told me that if I didn't get some sleep, I was going to start hallucinating. And so when I saw this fucking man in black standing 5 feet from me, I literally laughed. I laughed, and I was I just assumed I had gone mad and was hallucinating. I figured there was absolutely no possible way that it could be real. But it was still kind of really scary, and I just chose to laugh about it and assume that I was probably crazy. And yeah, so that was that one. Oh yeah, and then going back to things that I've manifested, it kind of ties into when I was a teenager, because when I was a teenager and I was going through my abuse, I had a lot of really scary phenomena happening to me at the time. First of all, when my abuse happened, I began hearing voices, and I didn't know, like, it was just scary. If you start hearing voices in the walls at 14 years old in the middle of, like, crazy abuse going on, like, it just is not good. And so I ended up, like, sleeping on the couch upstairs. I couldn't sleep in my room for a while, and my stepdad would fucking make fun of me so bad, and it was just because I was fucking hearing voices, and I was hearing scratching on the wall. And then also I woke up several times to my alarm clock being thrown at my head. And the crazy thing is that I've actually had phenomena like that last year when I was talking about the other stuff that happened. Because, basically, like, with the alarm clock thing, it was just at a point where I was really upset with myself because of the abuse, and I was attacking myself with psychokinesis. Which, if you study psychokinesis, one of the ways that you can tell that that's what it is that you're often abusing yourself, because it'll happen when you're upset. And that is basically called random psychokinesis, is that it'll manifest outward. And I've been able to kind of, like, I won't say control it in my adult life, but I've definitely been able to tap into using it when I want to. I just can't control what happens with it, is the problem. And so I realized that all I have to do is feel a certain way and go into this deep black abyss inside myself, which basically I understand now is kind of when I withdraw and another alter would switch over. So I would go into myself when I feel this way, and it is such a powerful feeling that in our trailer, I actually shattered the windows in our trailer only on the inside. We had these double-paned windows, and only the inside panes of the windows were cracked. And that happened when I was upset. And then sometimes we would hear, like, this thunder and lightning sound that sounded like it was happening, like, right on our trailer. And that would come out of nowhere, but it wasn't really thunder and lightning. It was just a crazy booming sound. Like, I couldn't... Sometimes I thought, like, maybe the aliens were landing outside or something, but no, it was never explained. And so those kind of things. And then during that time, also, I was kind of going through a bad period when all of this was happening in my trailer. I didn't like living in a trailer very much, and that wasn't all of it, but regardless, like, I was in the shower one day, and something kind of like the alarm clock incident happened, which was kind of when I started realizing and researching, you know, into psychokinesis and random psychokinesis. And that was that I was really upset, and I was in the shower trying to have 5 minutes, and I was kind of crying a little bit, and all of a sudden, every shampoo and conditioner and body wash in my shower flung at me. Like, flung at me, okay? Like, my alarm clock got thrown at me when I was asleep. The shampoo... My shower attacked me. My shower attacked me. I'm sure this all sounds really nutty. But, yeah. So that happened, too. And when I was growing up and all of this started happening, I really thought that I was haunted. And that's the sad part, is that I spent a good 10 years believing that I was followed around by poltergeists or demons or haunted or something. And then at the end of it, I learned that it was just me. And then there was things that I can't explain, even with my dissociativeness and occultism. The scariest thing that probably I don't talk about very much was when it happened before I got pregnant with my daughter Emily. I was about 16 years old. I was living with my grandparents. My mom was living in China at the time, so I was living with my grandparents. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and my room was, like, really small. It was maybe 7 feet by 7 feet. It was really tiny, and pretty much the whole room was taken up by my queen-size bed. Like, so when I say that I saw an alien at the edge of my bed, realize that, like, it was, you know, less than 3 to 5 feet away. It was on the edge of my bed, and this is where it gets into false memories and my labs, and military abductions are my labs. Because people that have reported alien abductions, like, and memories of aliens like that, like I remember waking up and seeing a short little gray alien at the foot of my bed. Those are often in hypnotherapy found to be false memories, and that they weren't aliens at all. It was actually our government taking you the whole time. And Eve Lorgan, who studied under Dr. Carla Turner, who was assassinated, talks a lot about how the government sometimes starts abducting you from my labs because aliens were interested in you to begin with. Like, there's alien activity over your house, like they're interested in you for some reason, and that means that our government will become interested in why the aliens are interested in you. So I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but I can tell you that something fucking funky is there, and it makes me really nervous. And I had to remove all of the standing lamps from the upstairs of my house because when I would go up at night and it would look like that alien, I would jump out of my fucking skin every time. And so now we don't have standing lamps upstairs. Like, that's where it brings me back to, is that little alien, and I'm not even sure it was a real one. It could have been our government. So yeah, those are the scariest things that I can remember that have ever happened to me. And I actually want to go through this book and see if I can find any more, because I've had this since my abuse was happening. This is my Book of Shadows that I started in 8th grade, which was a year after my abuse started. And so this sort of was like birthed in the middle of my abuse, and I have kept up on it to this day. I still add stuff to it, and it's important. So I'm gonna go through this too. If you gotta roll it out really flat, that's gonna be our pizza. Do you know what we're making?
What?
Organic pizza.
Is it like Mexican lasagna?
No, it's organic pizza. It means we made the dough ourselves, all from organic materials.
Are these organic materials?
Yep.
That feels like a cake.
Here, let me
that always happens when...
Let me add a little bit more flour.
Hey, Al.
What?
Look at me. What you doing?
Running out to stove?
Are you helping Mom make dinner?
Yes.
You're such a good helper.
Are we making organic pizza?
Yes.
Right
We're gonna
on.
roll it out really flat so the dough gets big.
Doesn't this feel like cake?
Yeah. What do you think? Do you want help?
Oh, well.
Do you want me to flip it over?
Flip it like this side.
Oh, this way?
Yeah.
Good idea.
You having fun, Allie?
Yeah? Even this feels like cake.
Do you freaking see this? Yeah, this is doing it all by itself. Facebook does not want me to post this. I just made this meme real quick. But I've never had this happen. Facebook will not, like, let me post this picture.
Happy Halloween.
Have fun. Hey, Emmy. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Hey, guys.
What do you say?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Happy Halloween.
Happy days before Halloween.
You too.
Oh, airplanes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy Halloween. He's an alien. There's some right in that trash box.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Happy Halloween.
Losing your shoes, Allie?
What do you say, Al?
Allie, you look so cute as Alice.
Right?
That was a good one.